Don't adjust your video settings. This is what I really look like. Hello, model railroaders. So you might be wondering about my title here, Oddities and Curiosities. And where did that come from? Well, I was sitting looking at my layout and I started wondering, I wonder how much of this layout is comprised of old parts. And I started thinking about it. I went to the closet, dug out some old boxes, and I came to realize that a pretty hefty percentage of my layout is made up of old stuff. Some of the buildings, the track, old Atlas track, my train cars, rolling stock. A lot of this stuff is 43 years old, if not older. And I thought, well, you know what? I want to find out from the model railroad community how many people remember some of this stuff. I'm not going to cast any disparities on anyone's age. I mean, for goodness sakes, I have no room to talk. But I'm just curious to know if anybody recognizes any of these things or remembers them. You might have seen them on other people's layouts. Maybe you have some of it on your own layout. I can't remember if I mentioned this in my introduction video, but I started working on my first N-scale layout when I was in high school. In 1978, I worked on it through 1980. Yeah, I was kind of a nerd. Still am. But yeah, let me show you some of this stuff. All right, up first here, I have a couple of tunnel portals. Now, I don't know if you can see these very well, but they are actually quite detailed. There's some kind of resin or wood. I believe there's some kind of a cast material. They're kind of light for resin, but that might be what they are. I'm not sure what they're made out of. Here's the other one. I think the other one was kind of discolored. But yeah, 40 plus years old. Okay, for my next item, I have an old Santa Fe. Whoops, I'm backwards. A Bachmann Santa Fe Pullman coach. What does it say on the bottom? 65-foot standard combine, lighted Santa Fe. And it is lighted. It still works. Let me see if I can get this out. Now, I don't take this out of the box much and run it because it is so old. Maybe you can see on the end of the car here, the paint has hardened and is chipping. And I don't want to damage it any further, but yeah, that is a neat old car. It's the only one I have like that. I'm not sure if I was planning on getting more at the time, but yeah, from 1978, 79, and I think it was made even before that. I also have the original Concours box for my big old U-50 U-boat locomotive, which I have used in several videos already. And let's see if I can get this thing to focus. Yep, there it is, U-50 diesel, 3301-G Burlington Northern. You might notice the price there, $49.95. Back in 78, 79, I was, like I said before, I was in high school, and $50 was a lot of money. I have some other items here. Some of these I actually recently purchased, but I have Atlas N-Gauge 12 telephone poles. I actually recently picked these up at a hobby shop here in Texas. But the kit itself, oh wow, it's quite old. And also the 3 ranch houses, another Atlas N-Gauge kit. 3 houses, I'll show these on the layout. That's another one that's right out of the 70s. Now, mind you, my theme on my layout, on the top layout, is not the 70s, but I'm going to use some of this stuff anyway. And another thing I will show you on the layout is the stone and gravel unloading station. I've seen this kit hanging around eBay and a couple of other places, but yeah, this is another one that is actually quite old. It's a model power kit. Can't find those much anymore. And then we have another model power kit. Now I actually have like 3 of these, not the hotel, but I have 2 of these hotels and 2 storefronts. Again, this is model power stuff from the 70s. It's amazing. This box is actually the original. It's just crazy to think that all these things have been hanging around for 40 years. And I also have an old model power Mutt and Jeff kit. It was a train set, Golden Spike series it says. Now the diesel engine doesn't run anymore. I actually cut the leads to the motor, left it in there for weight, but I used that engine as a dummy. For a DC layout, it works great. This little switcher engine here, it doesn't run anymore either. I did get it to run a little bit one day, and then it kind of died out. So, but this is a interesting old set here. I got this even before I started my layout back in the 70s. Okay, another thing I have here for the oddities and curiosities is some old Atlas equipment. Now, of course, I'm sure you recognize this. It's a switch motor for the old Atlas turnouts. And I have a whole bunch of these stashed in a box. Now, to control those turnouts, I had this switching bar. I had a whole bunch of switches put together into one big bar, and I had this set on the side of my layout, and it's really interesting. I don't think it would mean much to anyone else, but to me it's very nostalgic looking at this, because this still has the original wiring hooked up from when I took it off the old layout and started moving around the country. But yeah, it's really crazy. I decided when I built my current layout, I decided not to use this stuff. As far as I know, it would still work, but I bought new turnouts. I wanted to go with little ground throw levers instead of doing powered turnouts. So, and I thought that, you know, seeing as how my layout is on the top of a shelving unit, I didn't think that these switch motors looked very realistic. So I went with manual turnouts. Now over to the layout. Here's some more examples of 40-year-old materials, with the exception of the diesel locomotive here. This boxcar, these tankers, the gondola, the hoppers, got a couple of stock cars, whoops, and Southern Pacific boxcars, and this caboose. These cars are all 40 years old, if not more, 41 years old. And you could probably see the proof of that by the fact that I have these old, ugly Rapido couplers. Yeah. And there's the old gravel processing building, kind of in ruins. This train station, which I have renamed Pageborough, of course, is also 40 years old. It's an old Bachmann kit, which they still sell, by the way. And I added on this little train platform, passenger platform. And of course, over here we have the 3 ranch houses, and they are definitely 70s oriented, very retro. And of course, the old Burlington Northern U-50 U-boat. That's an old Concours model made by Kato back in the 70s. That thing's a workhorse. 40 years old, 41 years old. Well, there you go, my oddities and curiosities. I'm just curious, again, how many people actually remember this stuff. And let me know in the comments if you recognize any of this stuff, if you have any of this stuff. I've been thinking about it, and it just started burning into my head. So anyway, thanks for watching this, and thanks for putting up with me. Give me some thumbs up, comments, subscribe, and hit that bell, and I will see you at the next stop.